Good afternoon, Hail Stalkers. We are at RoofCON for the first full day on the vendor floor. Let me show you around the booth. Okay, it's pretty cool over here. Here we have Derek Klein's son, Simon. So this is Simon Klein's race car. Simon races just about every week, if not multiple times a week, across the country. Over here we have Simon. He set up his simulator. You can actually race against Simon on the simulator here at RoofCON. Let's see if you are faster than Simon Klein, the 13-year-old race car driver.
You challenge him. I saw that.
Oh, we got a challenger.
Yeah, Sean Eager, by the way.
Sean,
right there.
Do you think you're faster than Simon?
We'll see. Yeah, go on. There you go.
Let's see it, Sean. Okay, Sean, so after racing in the simulator, what did you think?
Simon, he's incredible. You have to have amazing friends, and it was harder than it.
What was your time?
Oh, we stopped counting after a couple minutes.
Was it fun? Did you like
it was
racing
a lot of
in
fun.
Is it what you expected?
No, nothing like it.
Was it faster than you expected?
I went slower than I expected, but it was fun. The turning is really hard, but overall it was a good experience.
That's good practice for Andretti's.
Yes, absolutely.
You can just get better at Andretti's.
Yes.
Thank you, I appreciate it. On the other side of the booth, we have Justin and Beth. You can get a live demo of HailTrace right here from Frank or from Brandon on the other side of the booth. Now the weather for RoofCON in Oklahoma City is nice today, but we do have storms in the forecast. I'll have more details on your forecast here in just a few minutes, but for now, let's turn it over to meteorologist Michaela Smith.
Thank you so much, Taylor. So many things happening today. We have a lot of severe weather to talk about. I'm meteorologist Michaela Smith. And then as you just saw, meteorologist Taylor Cox is out at RoofCON. Such a fun event that's happening today and tomorrow. We'll actually get a forecast from Taylor at RoofCON. And then towards the end of the forecast, we're also going to go live to her so we can see if maybe she sees some fun people. She can kind of walk around and show us everything that's happening. First, let's jump right into this forecast. It is a multi-day storm threat that we're talking about. Wednesday all the way through this weekend, we're going to have the chance for severe weather over the next several days. Like I mentioned, Taylor will give us that RoofCON forecast. It's the first time it's in Oklahoma City, so she's going to kind of show us how that weather's shaping up for the rest of today into tomorrow. And then the January temperature roller coaster just continues. Warmer temperatures starting to shape up for the Midwest. A lot of areas that have been cooler recently, but actually cooler temperatures start to move in for areas to the south. If you're at places like Texas, Louisiana, and you've been waiting for the cold, you might be seeing it by the middle of January. 48-hour storm reports, really nothing to talk about. We had those hail reports that came in on Saturday, so that was our first hailstorm again of the year. But then as we got to Sunday, really weather activity-wise, things have stayed pretty quiet. A little bit of rainfall yesterday across the coast of California. That's just an area that's continued to see a lot of rainfall. And now as you go into this morning, seeing some showers up near parts of the Great Lakes and really the Midwest, but overall, things are relatively quiet to start your Tuesday. But that will start to change by tomorrow. Here's a look at this current conditions across the area. There's a cold front that kind of swept across the area, didn't really move temperatures too much. Yesterday you were maybe 3 or 4 degrees warmer in some spots. If you're really pushing it, maybe 5, 6 degrees warmer. It was not a very significant cold front that moved across the area. But you can see where we have a low pressure system up near the Great Lakes right now, bringing some rain and mixed precipitation, a little bit of sleet, a little bit of snow. So as you jump around on this forecast, there you go, seeing some of that cold rain. Here's Lake Michigan, seeing that sleet and snow. You go down more to the south, few showers off the coast of Florida. Overall, things not too crazy. South Dakota seeing a little mixture of rain and snow this morning. And then as you go towards the west coast, Vancouver, Seattle, Portland, you're seeing more rainfall to start your Tuesday. Temperatures right now, kind of a mixed bag. To the north, it's a little bit colder, 32 in Minneapolis, 44 in Boise, but you're in the 60s here in Oklahoma City, 70s in Texas, both in Dallas and in Houston. And as you look at your current alerts across the country, here's some winter weather advisories up to the northeast where I just showed you they have some snowfall ongoing. Also some winter weather advisories along the Great Lakes where they're seeing some snowfall. And then more winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings to the west. That's going to be up in the mountains because with more rain coming in off the west coast, getting into that higher elevations, now you're talking about seeing lots of snow. But bringing it back to Oklahoma, again, RoofCON is happening. I'm going to show you a few temperatures that you can expect throughout the rest of today. By about 3 p.m., temperatures are in those mid-60s here in Oklahoma City. You're sitting at 70 in Lawton. By about 6 o'clock this evening, if you have any dinner plans, so you're back into those upper 50s. And then late tonight, about 9 o'clock, we have a lot of fun events that are happening. HailTrace is also sponsoring with Daily and Black, a fun event at Andretti's. That's going to be tonight, so as people are maybe leaving that event, the light jacket might be something that you consider. Tomorrow morning for the final day of RoofCON, as you head in the morning, it's in the 40s, so grab that jacket yet again. But by the afternoon, you're already back into those lower 60s, and then you jump briefly into the 70s in the afternoon. But if you're catching any flights in the evening, you're back into those lower 60s. So I'm going to bring back in meteorologist Taylor Cox here. Chipper said, #HailTrace team. Thank you, Chipper, for always watching. I'm going to bring back in meteorologist Taylor Cox. She has a full forecast for RoofCON and just kind of what you can expect throughout the rest of today, tomorrow, and some of the interesting things that are happening at RoofCON in Oklahoma City.
Hey Michaela, I want to show you something really cool before we get to that RoofCON forecast. Now, behind our HailTrace booth is a very large soundstage that I'm going to walk in front of. I'm going to be a little bit quieter, just a minute, and you're going to see behind that HailTrace soundstage, we have speakers all day long talking about what they do in the industry. They are the best in the industry, absolute experts, speaking about how you can get prepared and run your business better. So it's an absolutely phenomenal thing to check out if you are at RoofCON today. If you're not at RoofCON, make sure you text your friends, your buddies, to visit the HailTrace stage. Now let's go ahead and talk about your RoofCON forecast, because temperatures today are not as warm as what we saw yesterday, but it's still really nice for Oklahoma in January in Oklahoma standards. Temperatures are topping out in the upper 60s this afternoon. And as the vendor floor closes at 4, temperatures are going to be in the low 60s. So again, not too bad for Oklahoma standards. Take a break this evening, then head to Andretti's for a fun and free night of racing and laser tag sponsored by HailTrace and Daily in Black. When you leave Andretti's, temperatures are going to be chilly in the upper 40s and low 50s. Tomorrow, the last day of RoofCON, temperatures are going to be in the low 40s to start. So once again, grab that jacket. Then in the 70s for a high on Wednesday. Now, while we talk about this nice weather over and over and over, we do have storms in the forecast. So make sure that you are aware of those storms that are coming in late Wednesday night and into early Thursday morning, mainly out in West Texas and in central to eastern Oklahoma. Be aware if you're flying out late Wednesday night or early Thursday to keep an eye on the radar. But of course, for a full breakdown of those storm hazards, because we still have storms into Friday, I'm going to toss it back to meteorologist Michaela Smith.
Thank you so much, Taylor. So again, so many fun things are happening at RoofCON. Love to see that it's just been such an exciting time for so many people to be out there. And you get to go the rest of today and then tomorrow too. Lots more fun activities to happen. Now let's talk about these storms. Today for Tuesday, not overly concerned with any storm chances, but by tomorrow, Wednesday, this kind of kickstarts multiple days in a row that we're talking about the chance for severe weather. So Wednesday, you can see this area outlined in red. That's going to be kind of that general thunderstorm area. But we have a marginal risk. That's that level 1 out of 5. And we're watching for storms late on Wednesday night into the overnight Thursday. Now, as these storms originally formed, we're going to watch for maybe the risk for hail to begin with. But really the day that kind of everyone is keeping their eyes on now is Thursday. So Thursday, you can see this larger red area. That's going to be that general thunderstorm risk. And then this green, that's that marginal, still level 1 out of 5 risk. Usually we talk about those higher levels when it's more springtime, March, April, May. But we're talking about multiple days, again, of severe weather chances in January. So Thursday's risk is morning storms, round 1, kind of what's left over from Wednesday night into Thursday morning. And then if storms can re-fire up, kind of get going again in the afternoon, all hazards will be possible on Thursday. And then Friday, another area that we're watching is going to include portions of, you see moving that over a little bit more, we're going to include portions of Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi. That'll be an area of concern. And then even into Saturday as well, we'll be keeping a close eye on some of these storm chances. So showing you the significant hail model for today, You see a little bit of this kind of white and gray. Not overly concerned with the hail forecast for today or those hail chances. Tomorrow, this is right around 8 p.m., you start to see some of these oranges, these yellows showing up in Texas. And then especially as you get to about 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, right along the Red River, that's where we start to see more of these yellow and orange colors. That's indicating to us that there is going to be enough lift, there's enough ingredients in the atmosphere that we could be talking about the chance for hail tomorrow. So we'll get a little bit closer view. Again, this is right around 6 o'clock south of San Angelo. Even though this is showing the potential for hail, we don't have storms really in that area. So if we had storms forming, that means, okay, they could use some of that energy. But if no storms are there, it's just showing that the atmosphere would be capable of producing hail if a storm was in that kind of location. So this is right around 10 p.m., but where we do start to see storms actually form is going to be, again, closer to that 3, 4 o'clock in the morning tonight into Wednesday night into Thursday, right along the Red River. So going from Texas into Oklahoma, we'll also watch this area back near Lubbock into Midland. We could see some storms forming out there as well. Wednesday night into Thursday, that'll initially have that better chance for hail as you head into Thursday morning. Some of those more elevated storms before the wind threat will be something that we kind of change our perspective to, becomes more of that greater threat second half of Wednesday night storms into Thursday. So here is that hail forecast. You can see areas highlighted here in yellow, and then we have this orange color for the potential of maybe ping pong to golf ball size hail. Parts of Oklahoma and Texas, really western Oklahoma, that area of concern. But as we look at this risk, the risk level is still going to be low. These are very isolated storms that we're talking about Wednesday night into Thursday. There's still a lot of if with this storm system. So if the conditions come together, if things start to play out the right way, if things slow down enough that we can see some of these ingredients coming together, this is going to be that area that we're watching again for the potential for hail. But Oklahoma City, Lubbock, San Angelo, Dallas, you're not even included in this risk. Areas like Lawton, that risk level is still pretty low for Wednesday. I also want to show you those forecast hail sizes. So like we talked about, golf ball would be the maximum size hail that we're talking about Wednesday. I think most of what we see will be less than golf ball. So ping pong, quarter, pocket change size hail will be really our concern that we're watching for Wednesday. Along with the hail threat, we also have the threat for wind. So what we mentioned, starting off, we're just going to see more of that hail with those elevated storms. As the storms progress overnight, and it transitions more into that wind threat. So you can see this has shifted a little bit more to the east. So areas like Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Wichita Falls, Abilene, Dallas, you're still not included in this risk for storms. But this will be kind of that area, that corridor that we're watching for wind gust on Wednesday night into Thursday. Even then, you're still seeing that risk level. We're keeping it pretty low. A few isolated storms will be possible. Not talking about widespread scattered severe weather by any means on Wednesday into Thursday. Here's a look at your future radar. So this is 9 o'clock tonight. Again, not really concerned with any storms today. Then we get to the Wednesday night into Thursday morning. This is showing you right around 6 a.m. This is one of our models. This is the graph here. And you're seeing some storms across parts of Oklahoma, back into the Texas Panhandle, even Kansas. So this is where we're watching Thursday morning. This low pressure system right here pushes more of these storms across portions of the Midwest. So Missouri, Illinois, Iowa, we'll have to watch this area too for storms. That's where that general thunderstorm risk is, but that's in the morning, early afternoon. Really, this area down here is we're going to have to watch for that second round of storms to try to form Thursday into Friday, and that'll have a better chance if storms can form in that area to see all modes of severe weather. So the tornado threat, the wind threat, and the hail threat. This is early Friday morning. Here's that line of storms. So this model is pushing things a little bit later. So what we talked about maybe possibly Thursday night, this model is showing it Friday morning. But that's that area that we're watching for again Thursday into Friday for the next chance for storms. And then you can kind of play this a little bit further on. And you can see again, this is a different model now, the Euro, so it's not as defined. Here's this activity coming in Wednesday night into Thursday. All this rain across Oklahoma, much needed in some locations. We haven't seen even 1/10 of an inch and close to 40 days in some spots. So rain is definitely welcomed in portions of North Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas. That's Thursday. You see more of those storms moving up to areas like Missouri, Illinois by Thursday evening. And then here's this line that we're talking about Thursday night into Friday that we're going to watch for the chance of severe storms. That'll continue Friday. This is in the afternoon, that area that we're concerned with, Louisiana, Mississippi, far southwestern Tennessee. This is the area that we're going to watch Friday night into your Saturday. Before we switch anything over, do we have any questions? Again, at any point in time, I know John is watching very closely, but if you guys do have any questions, please leave them in the comments. John, like I said, is watching closely, so he'll pop those questions on for me so I can answer them for you if you want any more details about the forecast. Now let's talk about that hail forecast for Thursday. It's a little bit wider of an area. You can see it includes areas like Tulsa, Little Rock, Shreveport, Springfield. But even then, what we're talking about again is a lower risk right now. There's a lot of conditional threats to be able to see this hail possible on Thursday, but this is that area that we're watching for right now. This will change, this map will change over the next few days, so make sure you're staying up to date with us here at HailTrace as we can give you that newest information. And I went ahead and said Thursday right now with it just being so far out and not having a ton of details yet with some of those forecast models. We're talking about maybe ping pong ball size hail. This will also likely change as we get a little bit closer to Thursday. And then what I showed you earlier is that this is a multiple day event. So we have Wednesday, we have Thursday, we've talked about both of those days. Now let's talk about Friday. Here's this area that we're watching for Friday. So it's parts of Arkansas, parts of Texas, Louisiana. And this is going to be a daytime evening storm threat. So scattered showers and storms are possible. Going to lead to all hazards possible in the evening with some of these storms. So we'll have to keep a close eye on Friday. But again, this is still several days out. So a lot of forecast details are going to change depending on how much energy the atmosphere uses on Wednesday and Thursday too will kind of impact some of these storm chances on Friday. Now something else I want to point out for you really quickly, the flood risk for today, very limited, as well as tomorrow. As this kind of storm system gets a little bit closer, there will be a chance for flash flooding in areas like Chicago on Thursday. So already area that's been pretty wet in a different way. There's been quite a bit of rain and snow, especially in December. So we'll have to watch for the potential for flash flooding in the Chicago metro on Thursday. And then Friday, really a big concern too, will not only be storms, but the chance for flash flooding. We already, again, multiple days out, have a level 2 risk for flooding. So that means that hazard is scattered flash flooding, not isolated, but multiple reports of flash flooding will be possible Friday, especially through areas like Tennessee and into the northern parts of Alabama and then back into the eastern parts of Mississippi. So we'll have to watch that closely Friday. Then once we get to Saturday again, that risk for flooding goes down. But you can see in this 5-day forecast really where we're talking about. Let me go back really fast for you. You can see in this 5-day forecast why we're highlighting some of these areas for the potential for flash flooding, especially Mississippi into parts of Alabama. You're talking about in the next 5 days, 3 to 5 inches possible. And these areas have been pretty dry recently, so they need the rain, but to get that much rain in a very short amount of time is why we are talking about the chance for flooding. Now, the last thing we're going to kind of talk about is this January roller coaster temperatures that we are on. Tuesday temperatures are much warmer than they are compared to normal. This is your above average look here, so you're about 10 to 20 degrees above average today. Tomorrow as well, a little bit cooler, pockets of air starts to move in across the west coast. By Thursday, okay, now you're seeing some of that cooler air moving into place, and that will be what brings snow to areas like Denver and just portions of Colorado, Wyoming. Thursday into Friday, so you can see there's some cooler than average temperatures, warmer than average temperatures for the east. So this great divide is also usually a pretty good indicator that we're talking about the chance for severe weather as we look ahead. And then by Saturday, you can see kind of across the plains, maybe temperatures are still a little bit warmer than average, but not as much as you're going to be along the east coast by Saturday. Then Sunday, you get a little bit cooler along the east coast, but here comes that next round of warm air. So things are going to warm up pretty quickly. Quickly, I'll show you some of these future temperatures. You can see by tomorrow morning, you're sitting in the 20s, 30s, 50s in some locations, but a nice warm up in the afternoon. Thursday, that cooler air starts to move in the morning, but continues through the afternoon. And really by Friday, you're sitting at 15 in Salt Lake City in the morning, 18 in Minneapolis, 30 in Bismarck. You're in the 40s here in Oklahoma City, but 60s in areas like Memphis, Birmingham, Shreveport. And this is why this is the area we're watching for storms on Friday, is because temperatures are going to be pretty warm still, and there's going to be quite a bit of moisture available in those areas. And then things stay pretty warm Friday afternoon. Saturday, you start to see more of that low pressure system, all these lines here, that change in the weather pattern happening. And then as we head towards the weekend, there's that big low pressure system coming in from Canada, and that's going to drop temperatures a little bit more significantly for across the area by Sunday morning. Sunday afternoon, things are already starting to warm back up. Now, as we look further into January, I kind of teased at the beginning of the forecast that if your areas to the south, you're going to start to see maybe some cooler than average temperatures. And that's what we see here. This is valid January 11th through the 15th. You can see warmer than average conditions to the north. This is a lot of areas that have been continuously well below average, especially throughout the whole month of December. So maybe they're excited for that January thaw. But areas like Houston, New Orleans, Mobile, parts of Florida, now you're talking about colder than average conditions for January, and things are looking pretty neutral throughout the rest of Texas. But along with that, a big dry spell is coming through the middle of the month. This is again January 11th through the 15th, and we're really seeing indications that things are going to be drier than average. Now, before we wrap up today, I want to go back to meteorologist Taylor Cox just one more time out at RoofCON. She's actually going to be live now, walking around, I think grabbing a few people or maybe just showing us what's going on. That's a very packed, full day today that we're going to be seeing so many events happening well until this afternoon. Taylor, what all is happening right now? Oh, someone is racing. Simon, it seems. Is he winning?
Hey, Michaela. Yes. Well, we've got the simulator going right here. We've got several kids on the simulator. We've had all kinds of people racing today. Simon, has anyone gotten close to your time? Yeah, someone got close. How close were they? 0.03 of a second close to your time. Okay, that's pretty impressive. I like that. And that wasn't Derek, was it? No, someone else. Okay, so this is the simulator, as you can see in front of me. People are sitting down and they're racing. They're going fast, not storm chasing this time, but racing, as you often, race to the storms. On this side of the booth, we have a demo. Here's Frank, who is giving demos to customers as they walk up. Frank, if we were to analyze this map right here, what would you tell us about what's going on right here?
Well, we have all the storm reports showing on here. Personally, for me, I like a little bit of a clearer map, so I'm actually going to go in and turn off the NOAA reports. You're okay. Okay.
Got Justin over here as well.
Now I'm looking at hail maps. This is in the Northeast, so we're looking at storms in Connecticut. So what we can do is we can zoom in on this map here, and I'm going to use our inspect tool.
Which is a brand new tool, brand new this month, last month to HailTrace. Last month.
So when I tap inside there, it's going to show me all the details from that swamp that I tapped inside. So we have up to all size hail in there. I can swipe off of that, and then if I wanted to search a specific address, I can either use the search tool up here to search one, or I can go in, if I'm in a neighborhood, I can select the property. It's going to pull up all the weather data we have for that property in here. I can go and pull a lead list from that specific swath. I can order my weather report from here that I'm going to submit to the insurance carrier. And I can also add a recipient, so if I want to send that to the client as well, I can do that.
Brand new also with the weather reports. Last month or back in November, we put your logo on the weather report. So you upload your logo to HailTrace. It is now branded weather reports. So if you give that to the insurance carrier, if you give that to the homeowner, your logo is on that weather report, which is very important whenever you are, working on marketing and getting people to know your brand.
I go to property. This is also brand new. We haven't actually released this yet.
Ooh, brand new information here.
The value of that roof, the number of squares, and the predominant roof pitch of a selected property. So you get that information instantaneously. So if you want to use that for maybe your initial conversations, giving them a rough estimate of what it might cost, or if you're trying to prioritize inspections for incoming calls, things like that. So you can have access to that as well once we release RoofTrace.
I love it. And so this is new that you can only have access to if you talk to us at RoofCON or at IRE, but we will be releasing that slowly to more people as the year goes on.
If you sign up with us at RoofCON, I can get you access to this. Yeah.
Okay, well, everyone has to come visit HailTrace at RoofCON. Here's the rest of the booth, Michaela. I know that we are just kind of walking slowly around this booth, showing you guys some of the coolest things that we have. Here is the largest hailstone that has ever fallen in America. It's the 3D replica of that large hailstone. We've got fun merch around here. One of the fan favorites is our stress balls that are in the shape of a hailstone. Everyone always loves our hailstone hail balls, stress balls. And then, of course, more demos going on the other side of the booth. So we will let you guys go here, but we're having a lot of fun at RoofCon. We are talking to so many people today. We're excited for spring 2026. We're getting ready.
Thank you, Taylor. That was, again, so fun to see all of that activity that's happening out at RoofCon. So if you haven't stopped by, I think tickets are already sold out now, but make sure you get tickets to IRE, because a lot of those things that Taylor was just showing you, again, we're slowly releasing some of that stuff. But if you were at RoofCon, if you were at IRE, you're kind of getting that first look access. So again, you want to make sure that you see that. And be sure that you're always following us as well for those brand new post information, or if you want any updates on severe weather, we are constantly sharing that with you on all of our social platforms. So give us a follow at Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok. And with it being a brand new year, again, we are in conference season, but we always want to be available to you during hail events and leading up to the spring. If you want to have the best capable really areas to kind of help boost your roofing and other things before the spring, again, before those hailstorms and those events start happening, you want to have our stuff so that when those storms do happen, you're not trying to play catch up and get those hail maps after. You're ready to go that next morning. So if you're ready to go ahead and kind of become part of the HailTrace family, give us a call at 855-334-4245, or you can email us at info@hailtrace.com, or you can visit us on our website at hailtrace.com as well. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We will have more RoofCon kind of content throughout the rest of the afternoon, and RoofCon is still happening tomorrow, so Taylor will still be out there tomorrow. We'll have another live look at what's happening on Wednesday, but until then, we'll be back here same time, same place for your forecast on Wednesday.